Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Prague 2016, the large edition, the XL edition of YCS Prague, with almost 1,000 players showing up. My name is Oliver German. Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. I'm your host for the weekend, and I'm joined here by Luke Withington.
How's it going, Ollie?
Always a pleasure to work with you. For our round 4 feature match, you guys know this because we just told you in the halftime show, we picked Marcello Barberi. Marcello, by the way. Marcello Barberi is the correct way. And his opponent in this round is Robert Smith from the UK.
Yeah, who just happens to be someone I know quite well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you guys know we picked Marcello first, so it's not that we picked him because...
Oh, no, exactly. I was just as surprised when he walked through the curtain as he was.
Right. The reason why we picked Marcello is his deck, of course. He's playing Monarchs, and you put it this way, he's not playing the best card.
Yeah, well, so he's not playing Idea. Now, a lot of people have started picking up on this, and they've been saying it's very vulnerable to,
Effect Veiler, for example, yeah.
As a good example, yeah. So he's just decided to forego playing it whatsoever. He's just relying on the Quantum cards.
All right. And what do you think is... I mean, obviously it's working out for him. He's undefeated at this point. His opponent, Robert, we can actually look at his match history. He was playing against Heiko Schulte in round 1, who was playing Mermails, or Atlantean. Second round, he was winning... we are winning, full stop. We always have 2-1, but I think it's always... we don't even have the exact match results.
Okay.
Second round, he was going up against Ryan Bachus from Germany, who was playing one of the other category decks, so that could be anything like Yangtze, Black Wings,
or Dynamists.
yeah, Tellarknights. And in the last round, he was playing against Stefan Frankowski, also from Germany. This guy is really on a train, like
hunting the Germans out here.
Germans, yeah. Stefan Frankowski, who was playing Draco Performer Power, the most popular deck of the day that we didn't even see so far.
No, we haven't.
Somehow dodged it. Instead, we've seen a lot of Kozmo, and this round will not be any different because Robert Smith is actually playing Kozmo.
Yep.
What do you make of his deck here?
Yeah, it seems standard. He's in one copy of DOG Fighter. I know that amongst my friends, they thought the DOG Fighter was a good one of, just because it's quite nice if you manage to get in a really low resource situation. You can summon DOG Fighter and then just, you get a couple of tokens in their standby phase, then your standby phase, and then you've got like 6,000 damage on the board. Which is,
He's playing one copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This is like very tiny differences between the Kozmo decks, it seems.
Yeah, some people have decided to drop Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit.
It was a dead card in one of the matches we saw earlier.
Yeah.
It's not always good.
Yeah.
What do you make of Vanity's Emptiness? A card that used to be super, super dominant.
Yeah.
At the moment, we don't see it like popping up in large numbers.
People are kind of, especially with Monarchs coming around and special summoning not being, too big of a thing.
Yeah.
It's it's being dropped from people's decks, but I think especially in like Phantom Knights, it's really, really good. In the Kozmo Mirror match, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
If you've got the biggest chip on the field, you can play Vanity's Emptiness, and then you're gonna
just go from there.
You're gonna have the biggest chip on the field forever.
So there are still some appliances.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take you guys to the table where these two are absolutely ready to get their game on. We got Marcello on the left. You can always tell him by his beard.
Yeah.
Although Robert is also sporting a beard.
Yeah.
Quite a manly one. On the right. So it is Italy versus UK. It is Monarchs versus Kozmo in our round 4 feature match for YCS Prague.
Okay, so we're going to see the hands loading in here.
Yes. Let's start with Marcello. Got 2 copies of Ether, the Heavenly Monarch. Or Ether. What's the correct way to pronounce it?
Ether, yeah. Ether, Ether. It's one of it. Yeah,
no common agreement.
Yeah.
All right. Pantheism of the Monarchs, Terraforming. On the other side, we see Robert with an Effect Veiler, Darkhold, Raigeki, Call of the Haunted.
So it's quite funny here, really, that immediately we've seen that, Effect Veiler is, is there, and if he'd have had an idea, then he would have been, been Effect Veilered. So it's Terraforming. So, I got told by Marcello that he was playing quite a turbo version. When I say turbo version, he was playing, a couple of terraformings, a couple of chicken games, just to speed up the deck.
I think in this one regard, Marcello is a little bit different than most of the other so-called better players, most of the other veterans.
Yeah.
They always go for the kind of slower decks that have a lot of options. Whenever Marcello can, he will pick the deck that finishes games as fast as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives him more time to recuperate in between rounds, which is also a very big deal. Otherwise, you might make some misplays, or you might forget what a card did, even though you just read it the game before.
Yeah.
We've seen all of that.
Here we see perfect execution of the way to use Super Quantums here. So he's going to be able to put the blue layer back in his deck, actually, which is really useful to be able to just be used by emergency teleport again. It's basically just one card you put in your deck, and then you can use it as a teleport target forever.
Right.
Which is obviously really useful when you need tribute fodder.
Yeah, that sounds like something.
Yeah. So he's going to send 2 of his Monarch spell traps to the graveyard to use Ether's effect, probably a Prime Monarch as well, along with that Patheism.
So this is, in a way, the usual opening.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be putting a Prime Monarch in the graveyard as well. Or he's thinking about it. But a March of the Monarchs in the graveyard. So I think the reason he would have done that is because you can recover them somehow. I can't quite remember how, actually. But there's a way you can recover them from the Banish Zone. I think that might be with Eidos, actually, so that wouldn't be relevant here. But yeah.
Okay. Is Effect Veiler ever going to be a really good card in this matchup?
Yeah, so he could have played it there against Erebus, against Ether, actually.
Ether, yeah.
But he chose not to. I guess he might. This is the thing. He might be like getting mind gamed on a completely different level here. So he's thinking, oh, I'm going to save Effect Veiler for when Idea comes out, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah, well, he does have removal in his hand though.
Yeah,
lots of it.
Yeah, so a big dark hole here could really change the
So
sides.
he really doesn't mind his opponent like unloading that much.
No. So he plays Tenacity of the Monarchs, revealing the other Ether that he had in hand, which went and got him a Prime Monarch, and then he discarded that with Patheism to draw 2 cards. And now let's see where Marcello's hand is shaping up.
Yeah, we still got another copy of Ether. We got the Super Quantum Red Layer, and now the 2 new cards. Kuras, the Light Monarch, and Max C.
Yeah, so he plays the Prime Monarch as well. He plays it during his turn because it has that limitation of once per turn on it, once during either player's turn. So he can actually summon Ether here. And I think he drew a Max C as well, just to add to it.
Wow.
So yeah, we were talking about some struggles of people, with the Monarch deck really struggling with their hand. If they don't have what they need, then it's just a bit of a blowout. But
yeah,
he really had what he needed there, and I think that Dark Hole's not going to set him back too much because Robert has next to nothing.
Yeah, he's nothing to apply any pressure, really.
Nope, no pressure at all. And then in the end phase, he's going to see that Prime Monarch return to the field again.
Well, so far, really, really good news for Marcello. Yes. The only so-called floodgate that Robert is holding on to is Vanity's Emptiness, which is especially bad against Monarchs.
Yeah, pretty irrelevant right now. So let's see what Robert picks here. He's going to pick March. So, no, not March. I get mixed up between March and the other one, and his deck list.
Return of the Monarchs?
Return of the Monarchs, that's it. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, his deck list written in Italian, and I was trying to find it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And also his deck list is written in a handwriting that cannot be called a handwriting.
Yeah. So, Return of the Monarchs, whenever you successfully tribute summon a monster, you get to, depending on its attack and stuff, you get to go and search your deck for some another monster, which is very useful.
Yeah, that's one of those additions that are not that necessary if you have a Twitch chat full of experts.
Yeah.
There is the Effect Veiler finally coming down.
Yep.
Probably one of the best situations, I guess.
No, not
really.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Well, I mean, in this particular matchup, like it doesn't get much better for him.
No, he's gonna have to. I think he just had to use it just to get it used. I think, so that he didn't get any further behind.
All right, and now it's time for first blood. Marcello going in,
big 2/8, I think.
Yeah, dealing that first damage.
Yeah, 2/8.
What does Robert need to draw into here? I mean, he does have a Raigeki, so he can get rid of the field again. But
Tin cannot be useful. Did
he
just draw Raigeki?
No, he still had that from the very beginning. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so a tin can would be useful right now. But he got a Dark Destroyer. That's tough. I think he's probably thinking right now, do I just Regeki? Okay, he chose to not Regeki.
Yeah. He wants to save it for a better situation, but the question is there going to be a
I
better
don't think
situation?
there's going to be much
or
more.
Is he going to see any other situation, really?
No, I think this could be all she wrote. I mean, he only needs one more Erebus on the field. But he could just well, I guess he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to overextend into like 3 back rows.
Yeah, Monarchs have they are used. They are known for dominating the grind. At least back in the days, that was what they were really good at. The longer the game was going, the more likely it was for the Monarch player to emerge victorious.
Yeah, because they're all about very slow advantage. So he's going to play Monarch Stormforth here. Okay. Okay. He just played it just so he could get a Trap in the Grave. Okay, so yeah, he managed to use Vanity's Emptiness, which, surprisingly, in this Monarch matchup, isn't that good. So the Prime Monarch actually summons itself back to the field as like a token, like a trap monster.
Right.
So obviously, the Emptiness is going to go ahead and stop that off.
So
but still, 28 damage isn't bad at all.
Yeah. But isn't Vanity's Emptiness... I mean, it's not super... oh, no, actually, he's not locking himself out, because if he has to get rid of it, he can just play Raigeki.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like he's just locking himself out of the game. Because we've seen that before.
Yeah, oh yeah. Definitely, especially during Necros format.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, you just needed prep or reinforcements of the army or something. So I think Marcello right now is just trying to think, okay, what do I just attack here?
I think he does.
I think he did, yeah. Yep. They're both.
So now we're down to 2,400 for Robert. Yep. That is like any Monarch.
That's any Monarch, yeah.
He's within range.
Within range, yeah.
He's within Monarch range now.
Zaborg would happily take those life points. Right. So yeah, I think at this point, Robert can just have any pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So any pilot whatsoever, or a Slip Rider, because he can tribute summon the Slip Rider.
Yeah. Marcello does have a Maxi, however, so even when Robert finds an opening, there's a very good chance that Marcello's just got to draw into more cards and eventually find a solution.
So let's see what Robert gets here. So he does have a tin can. Okay, this...
Ooh, this is one of the best possible draws, right?
This could sway very swiftly.
There is a little tin can. It reminds me a bit of a robot from this one big movie that I've seen around Christmas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Glad you could share that Christmas spirit with us just now. I think I may have seen the same movie.
Yeah, I heard a couple of people have.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
let's see. Robert's kind of thinking about it, I guess.
There is the Raigeki, to get rid of his own Vanity's Emptiness.
There's only a one-way street right now.
Yeah, there's only one line of plays, really, right?
Mm-hmm. And the trouble with this is that Robert actually can't win right now and can't really do too much about the likes of Domain and Return of the Monarchs. He can't do much about those 2 cards because he really needs to just, get his monster on the field and get a big monster on the field as well.
Yeah.
So that's a trouble that he's going to have there. But he does have Tin Can and a Dark Destroyer, so we'll see. If the Tin Can can... Because he can double Tin Can with the cards he has right now.
Right.
Let me quickly explain that. So he can summon Tin Can, use Tin Can's effect, then the Dark Destroyer he already has in hand, he can banish the Tin Can, summon Dark Destroyer's effect, kill itself, and then, go ahead and get another Tin Can and do its effect again.
Yeah.
He can double Tin Can during the end phase.
How good is that?
I think that's really, really good, especially considering he has Call. I think
right.
But it depends on what gets picked off the first Tin Can. You see,
where he goes from there, yeah.
Yeah, so it depends. So let's see what he chooses here for this.
Well, so far so good. There is the first Tin Can. This is one of those situations where an effect veiler would be really good.
Yeah?
You don't think so?
No,
you just distributed it in response.
Effect veiler?
No, the tin can.
You can't affect Vela tin can.
Why can't you?
Because well, you can't respond to its effect because it's an end phase. And even if you do...
Yeah, no, I mean, before that, if you just use
even then you can just banish it and summon Dark Destroyer. But yeah, I guess Effect Veiler would stop one tin can.
At least it would stop the whole combo that you just described. Yeah.
Yes, it would, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, half the combo.
Yeah.
That's what I was
because you wouldn't get one surge.
But
anyway,
as we said, Maxi and Marcello found an emergency teleport off that Maxi, at least off that first special summon.
So this is the thing here. So Robert has to make this decision. I think he definitely has to destroy his own Dark Destroyer right now. There's no question about it. He has to go get Tin Can. He has to destroy his own Dark Destroyer, get a Tin Can, and it's really an issue because he's got Teleport now. He can just teleport his blue Quantum card and then use Domain, tribute the blue Quantum card, summon one of his big Monarchs. So the only disruption card that Rob has is Cosmojo and Call. So Call has to be, getting something with Tin Can.
It needs to be live, yeah.
Okay, so, Rob's decided to not really look too much into the future here. I don't know, okay, I guess he could do that, yeah. So I just thought of another line of play. So he could Slip Rider right now, hit one of the Monarch cards, and then he can Cosmojo the blue Quantum that gets teleported in, and then call back the Slip Rider. Oh no, well, yeah, he'd use Slip Rider's effect, but yeah, anyway. But yeah, he can use Slip Rider multiple times during his turn.
Yeah.
During his opponent's turn. So he's going to Cosmojo now. Okay, so I think we're still in Robert's turn, actually.
Yeah, he just attacked.
Yeah. So he's going to use Slip Rider's effect. So this is great. This is great now because he's going to be able to farm go.
So that's going actually...
Yeah, that's much better. I thought we were already in end phase.
So this is basically better than the double tin can?
Yeah, this is better than double tin can, yeah.
Yeah.
However, well,
it's still not great.
He's playing all of this under Max C, so...
Yeah, he's still in a way with his back against the wall.
Yeah.
With so many cards and more of them to come in Marcello's hand.
Yeah, he has to play at least one more. So I think he's searching for Farm Girl now. So the ideal one would be Cosmo Town, because he can play Cosmo Town and get Dark Destroyer.
Yeah. He seems to agree.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we still got Call as well.
It's so interesting because, like, against a lot of other decks, this situation would be really favoring the Cosmos coming back from such a rough position.
Yeah, it's just
they were in, but under a Maxi and with so many cards in hand and the life points that are just like 1,100 at this point.
Yeah,
it doesn't really look good for Robert Smith.
No, not right now.
Okay, let's take a look at this massive hand of Marcello Barberi.
So he's got one Call. Call has got no targets right now, anyway. So Marcello's going to have to play through a Dark Destroyer. And that's it. I think it's just one Dark Destroyer that can disrupt this turn. So he's going to play the blue Quantum's effect to get red Quantum, to get the red layer, sorry. That's what blue layer does when it's summoned. You can go get another Super Quant card from your deck. So Tenacity of Monarchs allows you to show your opponent a Monarch and then go and get a Monarch spell a trap. So yeah, so he's gonna be able to deal with this very easily. He can just storm forth his opponent, and then there's no question at all the way that this is gonna go. However, this does make it so that this is interesting. He's gonna be able to storm forth that. He's gonna tribute both. Or just tribute... Oh, yeah, because he domained it. However, he's going to be able to call Farm Girl if he does it quick enough, because otherwise Erebus's effect... Actually, I'm trying to think if Erebus's effect is when it's summoned.
Let's try and bring him up again.
He's got a lot of text.
That's the bigger question. Are we got to be able to read this? Once per turn during either player's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard one more. This is not the effect we're talking about.
No, different one.
Yeah, it's such a long card text. It's so hard to make out the right part of it. Well, Marcello is still hard at work.
Yeah,
tearing,
if it's tribute summoned, you can send
tearing
to
through the back row.
Yeah, so I was thinking along the lines of you could have called the farm girl back and then Dark Destroy it, but obviously he couldn't because Erebus was gonna sweep away the Call of the Haunted before he had a chance.
Okay, well, with a million cards in hand, Marcello Barberi takes the first game.
Yeah.
Very good showing from him.
Yeah.
And, well, that is it. 1-0 for him. Both of these guys undefeated at this point.
Yeah. So let's have a look at their side decks now.
Yeah.
So straight away, let's look at the Monarch side deck.
Got 3 copies of Effect Veiler.
Yeah. So that's good. Not going to be much use in the Kozmo matchup because obviously it's, they can banish themselves and summon the other ships from their hand. Twin Twister might be useful.
Yeah, we got Mystical Space Typhoons, Majesty's Fiend.
Very useful.
Yep. The Prime Monarch, Ghost Ogre, and Snow Rabbit. 2 copies of that. This is probably Skill Drain. Abilita Resolutiva? I think it's basically like take your abilities away.
Yeah, it seems like it, isn't it?
And that should be Skill Drain, although I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't think skill Drain would be really bad in Monarchs.
Well, it's Mystico something. Maybe Anti-Spell Fragrance?
Yeah, yeah.
But hard to tell.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get my translation.
I was expecting to see some system downs at least.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't fear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never really know.
Right, let's go and look at Robert Smith's side deck. So, what's he gonna see? So he's playing 2 Magic Deflectors and 3 Mask of Restricts, and 3 Twin Twisters. Now, this is all good stuff. He could put in. He's got like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 cards that you'd want to put in against Monarchs. Obviously, you're not going to put them all in because that's going to reduce the consistency of your deck. But still, the Twin Twisters, your Anti-Spell Fragrance is still good. Mask of Restriction really good. Magic Deflector, really, really good.
So Abilita Resolutiva is actually Breakthrough skill.
Oh, okay.
There was a skill in there.
Yeah.
Just not the wrong one. Just not the right one.
Mystico.
That one with Mystico name.
Mystico.
Pifaraio? No, that's not it. Nope. That doesn't make any sense either. Okay. So you were saying about Robert's side deck.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cards in the side deck that he could be using here. So Magic Deflector, quite an unknown card, was recently shown by, I think it was Jeff Jones who played it first. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that one. And it's one of those cards. It negates quite a lot, and on the surface is quite a strong card. It's very situational though. So it's a normal trap card, and you can just play it any time you want. And it says for the rest of the turn, negate all equip, field, continuous, and quick play spell card effects on the field.
Okay.
So Monarchs use almost all of their spells, a lot of their spells are continuous, or the field spell, so it covers quite a bit. Now, so Robert's opened really well here. He's got a tin can, and he's got a Mask of Restrict, and he's got a teleport, so he's going to be able to double tin can in the end.
It's definitely a lot better than what he had in the first game.
Oh yeah, he's going to be able to double tin can. And you got the DOG fighter. Yeah, so he adds DOG fighter to his hand. And those go to the graveyard. And I think he's probably going to teleport in a second tin can. Or maybe not.
All right. And Marcello doesn't really have anything to interfere with the opening plays of Robert here, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why that tin can's not in his hand. I think he's okay. He just wanted to end phase. Oh, maybe he did just draw phase. Yes, a draw phase DOG fighter. So this is what I was talking about. So DOG fighter during the standby phase produces a token of itself, pretty much, without its effect, just a token. Oh, this is really exciting. This is actually the first time I've seen the token that got given out at this event, and I just realized that I really want one. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
It's got the colors that match the colors of the European Championship, because every year the European Championship is following some certain color code.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's shiny, by the way.
Yeah, I really want one now. I have to go find one.
All right.
So,
very good opening for Robert.
Yeah, and Mask of Restrict.
Mask of Restrict, yeah. It's a Monarch Floodgate.
Yeah.
It's just funny because, like, a deck that tribute summons monsters can hardly be called as something that floods the field, because typically that means one monster per turn.
Yeah.
Floodgates used to be cards that help against something that says, okay, I summon a bunch of monsters all in the same turn.
So before I start going on a really intricate story about how you can get around this, I'm going to talk straight away about Twin Twisters and how Twin Twisters can just be used to get rid of Mask of Restrict.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about the huge play that he could make to summon Erebus. He's going to use Twin Twisters and deal with that Mask of Restrict. However, he could do that. he could use Erebus.
Okay.
Somehow.
So what do you think about the chicken game in the Monarch deck?
Yeah, it just speeds it up a little bit. I think he's played well there. A lot of people sometimes spend too much time thinking, okay, what can I put in my deck? Whereas nowadays we do have options to just be like, well, just put chicken game and terraforming.
Yeah.
Terra game. I nearly called it Terra game. Chicken games and terraforming. Just put those in. Shrinks your deck by a few more cards. If you're playing Upstart Goblin as well, it's even better. So he's actually shrunk his deck by 2 terraformings, 2 chicken games, and 3 Upstart Goblins. That's a total of 7 cards.
Yeah.
Shrinking your deck down to 33 cards.
It makes a big difference. Relatively speaking, we're like looking at almost 20%.
Yeah, it's really good. And what's great about that is that, so this play he's making now with the blue layer again, so shrinking his deck and then being able to put cards like blue layer in, which act as all your targets forever for emergency teleport.
Right.
You're just really tightening the cards that you play. So, I think Marcello here, he's definitely thought about this. He's not just done this blindly. He's really thought about the way that Monarchs are weak in the way that they sometimes don't get great hands. And he's really thought about that and just thought, oh, how can I make this not happen as much as possible?
Right, there is Twin Twister.
Called it this time.
Yeah. Went for the easy plan.
Yep, the easy plan. So he's got a chicken game that he's probably going to get rid of for Domain. Domain's going to reduce the level of Erebus. Erebus is going to be tribute summoned using the blue layer, all after he's played Return of the Monarchs. He may even storm forth the DOG fire as well, just for the sake of it. He gets to keep that blue layer as well, which would be nice. And then Erebus can, really get his game going here by putting some of the spells and traps of the Monarchs to the graveyard.
So despite the great opening by Robert, it seems like Marcello is fighting back into this.
Yeah, really is.
Do you think he's going to be ahead at the end of his turn?
I think so, but at the same time, so the play that I was talking about during Robert's turn, he didn't go with. So he's retained some of his resources in his hand, which is quite a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to keep that teleport, so it's,
take a look at it again.
Get Tin Can or
Slip
such.
Rider, Good Witch, teleport.
Yeah, but at the same time, again, this is something that obviously those guys can't see because they can't see each other's hands. But it's really, really interesting to see. So like Marcello here could have gone all out here and Monarch Stormforced his opponent's monster away and all this, but he's not. He's retaining those resources.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous to see.
Kind of interesting because you said before he's going for a very aggressive Monarch strategy, but he's not playing it that aggressively. At least not all the time.
Yeah, he knows when it's time to switch on the jets.
Yeah, he really picks his fights carefully. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And what's even better, so he's been able to go and search Ether out with the Return of the Monarchs, so that he can go ahead and set that Monarch Stormforth, and then he can disrupt his opponent's plays. He can just take one of his opponent's cards and use Ether with it.
Excellent mastery of the Monarch deck by Marcello Barberi. Not that surprising.
Absolutely.
Knowing Marcello.
Yeah.
And actually, Italy seems to be it is the second most represented country in this tournament.
Yeah.
Unlike last year, where we did have a couple of Germans, this year they came out, quite a few came out with 300, more than 360.
Yeah.
But I gotta give credit to the guys from these various countries that decided to come to the YCS. 246 players from other countries. That's like quite something.
Yeah. So your country sat at the top there with Germany with 364 players. 85 players from the United Kingdom. That's quite a lot of players, to be honest.
All right.
So we see Robert here trying to recover from this situation.
Yeah, there's a Kozmo in play.
Yep, so he's going to use Kozmo Town to get his tin can back to his hand. That just gives him an extra pilot to be used with the ships that he's going to search. Oh, actually, he's going to put it back with Kozmo Town. That makes sense. So he doesn't want to see those in his hand. He's obviously got a different set of plays in his mind. And he's going to go right out there, and he's going to be able to draw 2 fresh cards from his deck.
He's got a Dark Hole now. And another DOG fighter.
Yep, so he may have... Oh, was he playing more than one DOG fighter?
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering.
Ah, maybe he added DOG fighter back with Kozmo Town.
Kozmo Town, yeah. Yeah, he must have.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd have been tin can, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Glad we realized that. I saw the tin can disappear and thought he'd got the tin can, to be honest. So we're going to see the play that I thought was going to be made with Aether.
Marcello just checking his graveyard again for the second time.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the way that Ether's worded, even if Robert chains Goodrich's effect to Ether's effect, he still gets to tribute the card he summons. Let's have a quick check of the wording on Ether.
In any way, in any case, it did hit the field.
Okay, so he's just let the Goodrich. Oh, okay, it doesn't matter. I'll look that up. So yeah, he's going to get another Ether. So the cool thing about this is that Ether's effect is that in the end phase, the monster that you summoned with it comes back to your hand, so you've always got one. You just keep getting the same one again. And
Marcello's really unloading here.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's not much missing in terms of damage on the field to wrap things up for good.
No, definitely not. He's he's struggling with cards in his hand, however.
Yeah. But when you control the field completely, well, I'm going to eat my words. The Dark Hole just changed that.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the Dark Hole.
So suddenly Marcello did go all in a way. He did not hold on to his resources any longer.
Yeah.
Get punished for that.
Yeah, so I think he did get to search with Return of the Monarchs. So he got an Erebus. And he seems to have another Monarch Stormforth in his hand as well.
Yeah. Monarch deck is not one of these decks that tends to perform exceptional with very few cards.
No.
Unlike Kozmo can actually do that. Like,
if you
all
have
you need sometimes is one tin can.
Yeah, or a Kozmo Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he teleported in the tin can here. He's going to search for these 3 cards. It's actually going to be really good if he manages to get Slippy. It doesn't. He gets Forerunner. Banishes the tin can for the DOG fighter again. Deja vu.
Very much so. Marcello's not quite done that.
No, he's not done. So yeah, he's going to be able to get a token here. But we're going to see Monarchs. I think so he's not going to be able to win right now. But I think it would be pretty decent for Marcello if he managed to summon Airbus using the DOG fighter as a tribute fodder, then spin away Kozmo Town, and then that would leave Robert with just one big ship in his hand. And just not much to do about it.
Right.
So he gives him the Stormforth. Strange.
You disagree with that decision?
I guess it didn't really matter. Because I don't know whether did he add one earlier? That's probably why. Because you can only use once per turn. But I don't think it matters in this particular situation.
Right.
So he tributes the DOG fighter. So that completely stops its effect going off because it gets tributed. It's not destroyed. And now Airbus's effect is going to trigger when it's tribute summoned. And I think he's going to try and get rid of that Kozmo Town.
Yep. That works too.
Yeah, so that's actually a big thing, getting rid of that Kozmo Town, because that allows any future players by Robert to just be stopped. So let's start thinking about what does Robert actually need to draw here. I think a Kozmo Town actually is going to be what he needs, or potentially Call of the Haunted push. But definitely Kozmo Town is going to be the most useful.
Right. It's not his turn yet, though.
Nope.
Marcello might be going to town here.
Yeah. But not Kozmo Town.
Nope. Definitely not.
He's wrecking the place.
Yeah, he's on a destruction derby.
Yeah.
All right.
Just think if you'd have seen this field and told a Monarch player about 10, 12 years ago when Monarchs were out, they'd be attacking with trap cards. They'd call you crazy.
Yeah, but most things would do that.
Yeah.
I think the same is true, for example, for mermaids or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a fair point.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Marcello's field. Just to remind you guys, Domain of the Underworld, Return of the Monarchs. Those are 2 face-up cards. No, sorry. Yes. Yeah, that is actually correct. Then we got Prime Monarch, but everything is changing again now.
Yeah.
And I think this time Robert is actually, he ran out of removal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we saw.
I mean, he didn't have any. He doesn't have anything in his hand right now, but I think there's like next to nothing that he can draw.
No, I don't think so. He's
got rid of the Raigeki in this game.
I think Kozmo Town would be okay to draw, just because he can at least keep on going. Whereas, like, yeah, okay, I think he just called it there.
Yeah, that's it. All right, he sees the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
The writing is Marcello Barberi remains undefeated in today's event.
Yeah.
4-0 for the big bearded Italian.
Yeah. Wow, that was real mastery shown there.
Good job. And you can tell he doesn't even flinch.
No.
Marcello's like, yeah, this is business as usual. Get used to it.
Yeah.
All right. You talked to him prior to the match, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to him prior, and he was telling me about how, you know, he's always quite noble's not the right word. I can't think of what the right word is. He's never you know, I'll show it off.
Oh, no. He's not a show off.
He's not a show off. He's always
very friendly guy.
Yeah.
You can ask him anything. He's gonna tell you what he thinks.
Yeah. He's always saying like, oh, I didn't you know, oh, I don't think I'm very good with this deck or whatever.
No,
he's always saying that.
Always. Oh, really? I think he's always pretty confident.
Well,
and he says, I don't know how it goes, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's never, like, all the way showing off, but he's never, like, completely, oh, I'm not going to win anything.
Right.
He's usually confident going into it, but he's always willing to admit when he thinks that he's not confident with a particular deck. He said to me he didn't have much practice with this deck, but
it's also a nice character trait.
Yeah, it's Marcello. What do you want? He's gonna.
He's a stand-up guy. Yeah.
Take a deck and just play it.
All right. What questions are you gonna ask him?
So I'm definitely gonna ask him about the you know, using the quantums instead of, you know, relying on IDOS and IDEA.
He's probably gonna have some good explanations for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe telling us about something of his practicing experiences.
Yeah, just his routines and. You know, I can't remember if he was at Prague last year. We can always ask him about that. It's one of my favorite questions, asking people.
Yeah.
They enjoyed Prague last year.
And he's done quite well at the last few events as well.
Yeah.
Always very much at the top of the standings. So let's see what his goals for this weekend were and what he was expecting. Yeah. All right. I think time has been called in the main event in the rest of the field. So we used all of those 40 minutes for our match, just like these guys did for their matches.
Yeah.
Last round we did have an investigation, so everything took a little longer, like almost 40 minutes roughly between rounds.
Yeah.
So I think we still have enough time to conduct this interview.
Yeah.
I'll leave this one up to you.
Yeah.
Because you and Marcello, I think you guys got great chemistry, got a good thing going, talking about strategy. With that, we're going to be right back with the interview with winner of this round, 4 undefeated Marcello Barberi.